Hi friends! So for this trip we spent 2 nights in Quebec, and honestly I didn't expect it to feel this charming. We arrived in the evening and started with a simple walk, and right away the city felt very calm and cozy. The next day we explored the historic part of Quebec City, visited the Citadel, saw a ceremony and parade, walked through Old Street and visited some really beautiful churches. And on the last day, we drove outside the city to see one of the most famous basilicas in the area. So yeah, let me show you how everything went. So we got to Quebec in the evening, and instead of doing anything complicated, we just went for a walk in the Joan of Arc Garden. And honestly, it was the perfect start. It had just rained before we got there, so everything felt really fresh. Not crowded, not loud, just peaceful. The light was very soft, especially after the rain, and the whole place looked kind of cinematic without even trying. You have flowers, statues, open space. It's one of those places where you don't need a plan. You just walk and enjoy. I felt like moments like these are underrated, when you just arrive somewhere new and take it slow. The next morning we went to the Citadel. And this place is actually still an active military base, which I didn't expect at all. So it's not just a tourist attraction, it's a real working place with soldiers, history and traditions. When you arrived, the whole area already felt very structured and organized, like everything has its place and purpose. The tickets here is not too expensive. From what I remember, it's around $20 to $30, and it also includes the museum and access to the ceremony, so it's actually worth it. And we got really lucky, because there was a ceremony happening and even a small parade. You could see the soldiers marching, everything very precise, very coordinated. It felt very official. And then, something I didn't expect at all, we saw a real goat there. Apparently it's part of the regiment tradition, which is actually pretty cool. It kind of adds a unique and almost unexpected detail to see whole experience. There is also a museum inside, the Royal 22 Regiment, so you get a mix of history and real military life at the same time. Overall, this visit was very different from the rest of the city. You are not just walking around and looking at buildings, you actually see history and traditional happening in real time. The atmosphere feels very historic and serious, like you are stepping into another time for a bit. Definitely one of the most unique places in Quebec City. After the Citadel, we just started walking through the streets. No real plan, just exploring. And honestly, this is when Quebec City really starts to feel special. At first, it's just simple streets, but then you start noticing the details. The buildings look very old, very well preserved. The colors, the textures, even the small balconies, everything feels very European. We were just walking slowly, turning into random street, not really following any direction. And I like that kind of exploring. When you don't rush, you just let the city guide you. Every few steps, there's something interesting. A small cafe, a quiet corner, a nice view between the buildings. Even the doors and windows look unique here. It feels like every building has its own character. At some point we just slow down even more, not really trying to get anywhere, just walking and looking around. And I think that's the best way to experience Old Quebec. You can also feel the atmosphere changing a little as you walk. Some streets are very quiet, almost empty, and then suddenly you turn a corner and it's more lively. People walking, talking, sometimes music in the background. It feels very natural, not forced. And then slowly you start noticing something in the distance. At first, just a small part of building, and then more of it appears. And that's when you finally reach the Chateau Frontenac. And yeah, it really stands out. It's big, elegant, and kind of feels like a castle. Definitely one of those moments when you stop for a second and just look. As you get closer, the whole area opens up. More people, more movements, more energy. And right next to it, you have the boardwalk with beautiful views. This is really the heart of Quebec City, and it's one of those places where you just want to take your time and enjoy everything around you. On the way, we passed by the Musée des Ursulines and went inside a small church nearby. Nothing too big or touristy, just quiet and simple. And I actually like places like that. You don't rush, you don't feel pressure, you just step inside, look around and take a small break. It helps slow down the day a little. Then we continue walking and reach the City Hall. The architecture here is really beautiful, very European style. Honestly, sometimes it doesn't feel like you're in North America. And nearby there is also a small underground fountain, which was kind of unexpected. It's one of those small details that makes exploring more fun. Next, we visit the Notre-Dame de Québec Basilica. From the outside it really looks nice, but inside it's even more impressive. The details, the gold, the design, everything feels very rich but also peaceful. Even if you are not into churches, it's still worth stepping inside for a few minutes. It's one of those places where you just stop and look around quietly. As we kept walking, I started noticing all the small details. The doors, the windows, the textures on the wall. Nothing feels modern or rushed. It feels like the city kept its original character, and that's what makes it special. There are also a lot of small shops and little cafes around. Some of them look very cozy, like place you could just stop and sit for a while. Even if you don't go inside, just walking past them gives you that nice atmosphere. You hear people talking, sometimes music, sometimes just footsteps on the street. It's very calm, but still alive. And what I really like here is that you don't need a plan. You can just walk in any direction, take random turns, go up or down the streets, and you will always find something interesting. We kept walking and found Escalier Casse-Cou. And yeah, the name sounds a little scary. It basically means breakneck stairs, so you already know what to expect. When you see them in person, they are actually pretty steep. Not very long, but enough to make you slow down and be careful. So we just took our time going down, and honestly, the view around makes it worth it. And this whole area right here, this is probably one of my favorite parts of Quebec City. Everything feels very old and authentic. The streets are narrow, the buildings are close, the very corner looks like something from Europe. You really don't feel like you're in North America anymore. At some point, we just slow down completely, not really going anywhere, just walking and enjoying everything around us. And I think that's the best way to experience this place. Also, because of the stairs and different levels, the views keep changing. Sometimes you're higher, sometimes lower, and you see the city from different angles. It makes the walk feel more dynamic. And yeah, this is definitely one of those places where everything looks good on camera. Even simple shots, just walking or turning around, feel very cinematic. Then we came across the Quebec City Mural. It's a huge painting on the side of a building that shows different moments from the city's history. There is so much detail, you can stand there and keep noticing new things. And around this area, the streets are also very beautiful. It's a great place to walk and explore. To finish the day, we walked up to the mountain Dagua de Mons. By the time, we were already a bit tired, but it was worth it. From there, you get really nice view of the city. It's a good place to sit, relax, and just enjoy the moment. The next day, we drove a little outside the city to visit the Basilica of Sainte-Anne-de-Beaupré. And honestly, this place is really impressive. As you get closer, you can already see how big it is. When we went inside, it felt very calm and peaceful. There is a lot to look at. The ceilings and the windows, the details on the wall, everything is very carefully made. You can feel that this place is important not just for tourists, but for people who come here for spiritual reasons. Even if you are not religious, it's still a very special place to visit. It's quiet, it's beautiful, and it gives you a moment to slow down again after exploring the city. And I think that's what I like most. It's completely different feeling compared to Old Quebec. And yeah, that was our trip to Quebec. It's one of those places that feels very unique. A mix of history, European style, and peaceful atmosphere. Definitely worth visiting. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. And I will see you in the next one. Bye!